Good morning, everybody. Good morning. This is your favorite everything, JR Wisdom, with my co-host QT Dub. And it is a beautiful Friday, guys. You guys can see the sunlight coming in. We're broadcasting live here with another morning show for you guys, live from Smyrna, Atlanta, Georgia, and Charleston, South Carolina, to be specific. So, again, hope you guys are doing well. What's up with you this morning, QT Dub? What's happening with you, my brother?
Man, not much. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy to be waking up with some wisdom on this fine Friday morning. Hoping everybody's having a fine Friday. We done made it to our 2 days of the week that we get to have to ourselves. So, you know what I'm saying? What is there not to be happy about, my brother?
Indeed, man. Indeed. So, what's any big plans this weekend?
I don't, man. I'm trying to get graduation stuff situated. Hope scholarship and all that stuff situated, and then of course I'm studying for another series exam. So hopefully this is my last one for a little while. So that's the grand events that I have for this weekend. Work.
100, man. Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. We're already in May.
Mm-hmm.
We were in April. You know what I mean? So shout out to everybody who has made it with us to May, because everybody's not able to do that. You know what I mean? Yeah. I thought you was about to say something.
No, I'm like, you're not saying anything that's not true. I mean, I just saw a dude fall off the damn balcony of a damn Pirates baseball game the other day. Luckily, he survived. But I'm just saying that's how easy it is to not be with us.
Right. That is not promised. Definitely not promised. But yeah, before we jump into it once again, QT Dub, I'm gonna go ahead and knock out those housekeeping rules for everybody who may be tuned into the show for the first time.
Get them knocked out.
First of all, he said get them knocked out. Put the beaters on them hoes.
Put them on them.
Yeah.
Good morning, Miss White in the building.
Good morning. White. Yeah, live from Facebook. Hit that like. You can see that?
Yeah, I see it.
Oh, okay, good. She's on Facebook. I didn't know you could see it.
Mm-hmm. Good morning to you.
Got it. Yeah, hit that like button, guys. First of all, hit that subscribe button if you already haven't. If you haven't subscribed to QT Dub's channel, The Independent Mail, it's linked on YouTube. But here, if you're on Facebook watching or on Twitch, because we're streaming at multiple platforms right now, just go ahead and subscribe to The Independent Mail. There, just type that in, it'll pop right up.
Sure will.
This is a live show, as you guys see, so don't be asking, is this live? Yeah, this is live. Feel free to call in. The link should be pinned in the chat. You guys will see it on both Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. If you guys want to call in and share your thoughts on some of the topics we'll be discussing. As I said, this is a live morning show, so we're discussing a variety of different topics, including media, finance, and the weather, all types of things like that, social topics. So let's go ahead and get into it, man. First of all, go ahead and drop your age, sex / gender, and location in the chat below, so we know where you guys are checking in from. I can see whether you're on Facebook, YouTube. Shout out to everybody on there. So go ahead and drop that below. We, go ahead and check in with everybody, make sure everybody's good. And without further ado, man, we're just gonna start off with the weather here. It's obviously I'm in Charleston in the Low Country, the southeast part of South Carolina, but we're gonna start off in Atlanta, and looks like where you at, Dub, man. Like, listen, it's 70 degrees out there right now, but it feels like 76 there.
It does.
Yeah,
it does. No lies.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be. Looks like it's gonna be all the way up to 80 today. It's partly cloudy there, but there may be a chance of some showers this afternoon. I don't know.
Tis the time of year, you know what I'm saying? Heated up in the afternoon, rain on us, and that's how it works when we start hitting these summer months.
Right. But potentially some thunderstorms starting at 9 o'clock tonight. So man, You know what I mean? But all in all, it looks like a pretty decent day till this afternoon. But hey, you're above the ground, man. Just go out there once it start raining and soak up some of that rain.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So man, I'm gonna, I know we started off on a high note with this, but we got to get into some controversy.
All right.
Including, laws, gun laws, and about these children that just get involved in certain things. They can't control their temper, know how to deal with conflict. And there's a lot to be said based off of this clip that I'm about to get into. So
All right.
I'm not going to preface it other than saying that, but let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to discuss it here.
All
This
right, sir.
takes place in a small town in Texas, and let's go ahead and jump into it, man.
Tonight, another child has died due to gun violence. The victim is actually a 14-year-old girl who lived in Baytown at the Village apartment.
This happened on Village Lane and West Barker Road. Fox 26's Leslie Delaspore is live for us at the scene. Leslie.
That's right. The 14-year-old was killed just behind me here. I want to step out and show you. As you can see, over the course of the evening, a memorial has grown, and actually you're taking a look at some of her family members coming out here to mourn her loss. Now, I spoke with some of her family earlier who told me they found the 14-year-old lying here fighting for her life.
She's just a baby. I just buried my brother. Now I have to bury my niece.
Lisa Zachary was home when the gunshots rang out that killed her niece, who she identified as 14-year-old Anaya Zachary.
I was coming outside to go meet my brother, and I heard some gunshots, but I thought it was fireworks. And a lady grabbed me and told me, no, that's not no fireworks, it's gunshots. And I heard a girlfriend of mine saying, Naya, 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 and it was her shot. And then we telling her not to move, and I had somebody that called the ambulance, and I called my sister to get over here. And Naya just 14 years old, about to be 15. Her and a boy that she goes to school with was, I guess, beefing, and he told her that he was gonna shoot her and kill her.
According to Baytown police, around 4 p.m., officers arrived on scene responding to a shooting. Police say two teens, a boy and a girl, were involved in some sort of fight earlier in the day. The girl, 14-year-old Anaya, was at the apartment playground. Police say a teenage boy walked up and started shooting.
We found her body just laying there. I seen the bullet wounds when they was taking her top and her clothes off. She had the visible ones. Long right here, and she had one in her stomach right here. And then before the ambulance came, you just already see the blood going, and that's how we just knew she was already gone.
Now, Baytown police say that teen male suspect is in custody. And coming up at 10, hear more from another family member who tells us a little bit more about who 14-year-old Anaya was. Reporting from Baytown, Leslie Delaspore, Fox 26 News.
Yeah. So that is quite an interesting story. Before I get your opinion on this, I want to add a little bit more detail to the story here that people may not have gotten from that video. Now, the little boy was 13 years old. She was 14 years old, about to turn 15. And he got a hold of his parents' 38, right? Got a hold of his parents' 38. There was no lock or safe. It was just lying around, unprotected. He stashed, after he, did what he did, he stashed the weapon in the bag and continued like nothing happened. His pops is 61 years old.
Oh.
And the mother's 37. They've also been charged for misdemeanor for access to the firearm, with him being charged with obviously murder in this case. So what are your thoughts on this whole situation, first off?
There's no winners. Everybody lost in this. The kids are lost. Both sets of parents are lost. And it's multifaceted where you can place anger, because depending on where your viewpoint is, there's plenty to be angry about within this entire story.
Right.
I don't know if you're aware of it because I haven't watched it yet, but I knew it was a big buzz about a Netflix show called Adolescence. Have you heard of that?
I haven't.
Yo, it's literally, I'm not kidding, it's literally almost this same exact scenario. Some little boy getting some like middle-aged little boy in middle school in the UK is getting picked on or something by a girl at school, and he does the same thing. And his parents are held accountable and all of this stuff. And now I'm almost in. At first, I kind of didn't want to watch it because it's so charged with all of these elements and stuff. But now with this real life example, like just right here, I almost want to look at it. But it's literally this exact scenario.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, a lot of it's going to go on. Well, why wasn't the gun, you know, locked away? And you know, how this guy, this young man, this young male adolescent didn't know how to control his emotions and, you know, resolve conflict, you know, without deadly consequence. But then there's also another discussion to be had about quote unquote excessive bullying, so to speak. I know that's a word that a lot of us in the male space don't like to address because it seems, you know, soft, and it's like all of us have to go through it and, you know, toughen up and whatnot. But sometimes these consequences of this they're deadly.
Yeah.
And we know how we can be as middle schoolers and high schoolers, relentless. And now with social media and these phones, these kids can't get away from that stuff. So used to, if you got picked on the way home from school or whatever, that was the 20 or 30 minutes on the way home from school. And that's what it was out of that slice, you know, of your day in life. Now it's those 20 minutes. It's another hour when it's posted on Facebook and TikTok. And some of these people are snapping.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like you're saying, then when we have weapons available for everybody, that doesn't make it any better. So there's no winning with this type of scenario. And I don't know how to fix it, to be honest.
So what do you think? Do you think that the parents should have just been charged with a misdemeanor, or should they also be charged with murder?
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I mean, because the girl is still okay. So we charge them. Let's say we charge them all with murder, and all of them are gone. The kid's gone. The old man is gone. The 30-something-year-old mom is gone. The little girl is still gone.
Right.
I don't know how much peace and made whole is it going to make her family.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, is there culpability on their part? Yes, indeed. But I don't know what the punishment is supposed to be.
Right.
I mean, we got a 13-year-old boy here. Do we sentence him to life? I don't know the answer to any of this.
Yeah. So there's layers to all of this, man, which I know we could probably have a long conversation about. One of them is, as you said, is because there is some, even though I don't think it explicitly says anything about bullying, there is a form of bullying in this by him saying, I'm going to delete you. You know what I'm saying? When I get on this bus, and he followed through with it. But to the emotional capacity of a 13-year-old boy to put two and two together, whether you can link it back to what he sees at home, television, and or video games, which is what people are going to get into, but to the point where a boy does that. You know what I mean? That's what they're
no, I do.
13 years old, you know, where I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna know how to even know how to operate a gun. You know what I'm saying? Because most adults, you know, go through training, and you've been in the military. I've been in the military. I've been out on the range, and you still see people struggle to chamber around. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Around. Yeah. You know, clear around. Even with a pistol. I've been on ranges, and I'm not trying to make fun of women.
Yeah.
I've been on ranges with women, and they just, you know, having trouble, you know, just chambering, and dudes too. I'm not saying, but mostly I've seen women having issues. But this is a 13-year-old boy trying to handle a 38. I'm assuming this is a Taurus. I don't know if a Taurus is a revolver or if it's actually a handgun.
It might be a semi-automatic handgun. What I say, according to the advertisements I get from Outdoor Adventure all the time, I think
give us some money, but yeah.
I think it's for a semi-auto.
Yeah, semi-auto, okay. Yeah. But yeah, the fact that he's able to do this, which I guess you say, well, JR doesn't take much to pull a trigger, which it doesn't, but him
and by his dad being older, he could have been on the range. He could have been hunting. I mean, you got to remember, some of us are brought up in handling firearms to that degree.
Right.
So he could have been somewhat proficient. You know what I mean? Who knows? But he was good enough to go carry out what he wanted to do.
Right. Yeah.
And the sad part about it is, it's so sad that the little girl had to experience that in her family.
Mm-hmm.
But I also want to take a second, because we're thinking about the young man, 13 years old, and his ability to be able to go carry this out. How was this guy perceiving life?
Yeah.
In order to go do this?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, I am not apologizing and excusing the behavior, but I'm just saying for a second, let's just think about how this young man was perceiving life to be on earth for only 13 years and prepared to go drain the life out of somebody else.
Yeah.
I've been mad at 13. I never wanted to get rid of somebody, man.
Yeah.
Give me back my Starscream Transformer, bro, like tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm not willing to open you up for it at 13.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's it's as you said, I think this is a complex one, and I guess we'll see how it plays out, man. But we're gonna go ahead and scoot on to the next one. Hopefully, condolences to the family.
You also, right quick, you got some comments in here too about this particular story. Manifest and Don and some other folks in here. You might want to check them out right quick, see what they got going on.
Too many times adults are placing outsiders responsible for correcting the needs of what they should be doing with their own families. Yeah. It's a handgun, 13 round, so it's semi-automatic. Okay. So much aggression. Yeah, but
a lot of aggression on both sides. Because we've seen it. We've seen the little lady of rages on the parking lot before. We know they can be the story said that they had gotten into a fight earlier. So this may not have just been verbal torment. She may have actually put the beaters on him.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? He's a 13-year-old boy, so he probably still in his skinny frame. Some of us never grow out of it like me, but he probably still in his skinny frame.
Well, real quick, because I'm listening to you, but I did look it up. So a Taurus 38 is a revolver, because I heard.
Oh, it was a revolver. Okay.
Yeah, because I see somebody put it in the Pablo Picante put it in there.
Okay, I see him.
Whenever I think about 38, I automatically think about a revolver. My mom's had a 38 revolver. So even though I do believe, being that this is a Taurus, but I'm pretty sure they make 38s or 380s as a semi-automatic pistol. But yeah, it's unfortunate, man. Rest in peace to the young lady, and we gotta do better. If you have kids, having if you have a firearm, keeping it secure, you know what I mean, or just teach the importance. But you never know what's going through a little kid's mind, that they may get pissed off. My parents have a gun, and they told me how to secure it or how to unsecure it, so I can still get it. But you still got to keep it out of the way, man.
And you know what? And sometimes it may go a little bit as just to being and not accepting fine.
Yeah.
Every day. When it's like, how was school today? Fine.
Yeah.
And how many times do we accept fine and don't go into details? You know what I mean? So it's a lot of layers to it, man. And it's unfortunate. I hate it, especially in a community like that.
Right. But let's move on. QT Dub, man. Hey, you guys go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as usual. Obviously, as I said, this is a call-in show. Feel free to hit that link pinned below if you want to call in and share your thoughts. Man, we're gonna jump into some Kanye West, man. You know what I'm saying?
Easy weed.
Yeah, we're gonna some Ye, some Ye, as he likes to be known.
Morning, boy.
Yeah.
Boy Banks. What's happening with you?
So have you been like following or hearing about what's going on with good buddy Ye?
Come on, Jay, man. You be schooling me a lot of times. What's happening?
So he's still talking about he should have gotten a lot of stuff about Kim Kardashian in reference to he's been having a lot of explosive rants and interviews as of late, but he's talking about he should have gotten Paris Hilton pregnant instead of Kim Kardashian. You know, obviously he said the whole thing about, you know, performing a certain act on his cousin.
Wait, what?
For years, yeah.
Wait a minute, he said what about what with a cousin?
A male cousin. So he said when he was young, you know, he basically was performing on his male cousin, was performing a certain act on his male cousin for years. And you know, saying things about his mom, that his mom was actually part of the LGBTQ community. You know what I mean? Saying things like that. And you know, now he's going off talking about how Kim won't let him see his kids and, you know, things like that. So it's one of those things where I think Jim Jones said it, that Kanye West just wants to be the most talked about person in the universe.
I could see that.
He tries to say anything to get it, you know, get in the headlines in terms of that. You know what I mean? So he's you know, you know, he talks about being bipolar and crazy, but some of the things are said just to
garner attention.
Yeah, garner attention. Like I guess it just came out where he said he would let other dudes clap his ex. Was that Italian chick he was married to?
For
Bianca,
2 minutes. Yeah.
Bianca Sensori. Like he would let dudes clap her cheeks. You know what I'm saying? And
Manifest. I'm with you, dog.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so Buddy's just like all over the place, man. This dude is what, pushing 50 at this point?
You know
what I mean? He just dropped his album, was it yesterday or whatever, or maybe 2 days ago, and now they already removed it from streaming. You know what I'm saying? So Donda 2.
Donda.
Yeah, Donda 2, which was his mom's name, right? So yeah, Buddy's just all over the place, man. You know what I'm saying?
And I would manifest though. It's like why put your mom's business out there like that? If she wanted it out there, she would have put it out there when she was here.
Right.
And like you were saying, just to garner some damn attention and to be talked about, you're gonna vomit that out there.
Right.
And the sad part is every time he does this stuff, he never improves his brand. It never gets him any more anything. All we do, really to be honest, every time he does this, it only benefits us and TMZ.
Yeah.
He never gets what he's looking for out of it.
And then he got kids, man. You know, you got kids seeing this stuff, man. He's saying they won't let him see his kids and all this stuff. He's going off about, man.
And then they don't never think about that aspect that these guys and girls have to become adults and this stuff doesn't go anywhere.
Right.
So you go to the best private and boarding schools that the world has to offer, and then they get to go with other people that's like, haha, look what your mom and your daddy did.
Right.
It's right here on the internet. Your daddy's stupid.
Right. And I guess at this point, like I said, he's just trying to be the most famous person in all history of mankind. You know what I'm saying?
And the sad part is, it's without doing anything historic. He wants to get it off of sound bites and doing, you know what I mean, and stage acts. Like, go make us another, college dropout, hottest album type joints, and then we'll be talking about you like that.
Right.
But you're not doing that, so that's why we're not doing it. And I'm like, all of these little antics ain't going to make it any better.
Yeah. So Buddy's 47 years old. You know, every man needs himself a Bianca. She's a good woman that does whatever Ye tells her to do without carrying. I guess they fucked that all up. Without carrying what anyone else has to say. The only thing she cares about is being a subservient extension to her master. 30 years old, but yeah, this woman was kind of like his own like little doll or whatever.
Yeah, well, I think not too long after they had gotten together, somebody had posted photos of her going down on him on some boat in public or some junk like that. So, whatever.
Giving him a Lewinsky, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all
the presidential treatment.
The presidential treatment. You know what I'm saying?
Hell to the chief.
That's right, man. So I don't know, man. Who knows what's in store? What's the next thing up for this guy, man?
Crypto. Ye coins.
Ye coins?
Yeah, Ye coin. Everybody invest.
Yeah. So have you heard about I know we were talking about this offline about what's going on. What were the latest on Suge Knight?
No, you were telling me that it was some kind of settlement, and I didn't even know that he had a case going on, you know, while he was locked away right now. So what's up with that?
Yeah, so Suge Knight, you know about what happened with him back in 2015 when they were filming Straight Outta Compton.
Oh yeah.
Right. And this was actually one of his old acquaintances that, you know, he pulled up to the set while they were filming. And you know, I guess he was upset about it and things like that. And he actually ran Terry Carter over when he was backing out or trying to get up out of there.
All right.
So he got a 28-year sentence based upon that.
Okay.
So the man's widow and the daughter was actually suing him for a wrongful death suit from that.
Got it. Civil wise. Okay.
Yeah. So in terms of that, which let me go ahead and
now I get what you're saying. So he's doing the time for the criminal aspect, but they hit him on the civil side.
Right. Yeah. So they hit him on the civil side. So in terms of this situation, you know, he just went ahead and settled instead of you know, going through the trial for one in reference to that. You know, Suge still he got his own little podcast. If you
little, I'm like, my man is operating a major podcast behind the walls.
Right. So he got that going, and I think he's going blind in one eye or something like that. He got health issues. So I guess by the time he's supposed to get out, he's supposed to be like close to 80 or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, something like that, I believe, man. But 28 years, bro, for some stuff that you know, as far as temper wise, a man his age, which I'm assuming he was what, like 50,
40s, something at that point, right?
40s or something. Yeah, late 40s. And you doing some stuff like that, man. And I guess they was trying to claim self-defense because, you know, in that whole situation when he took it to trial. But to be going through that, man, at that age, no problem. And if you live to see it, man, damn.
Yeah. And I get what you're saying as far as, you know, quote unquote, doing that act that late in life. But when that's your persona and that's how you accumulated everything that you are at that point, age time clock ain't really going to shut that off.
Yeah. This is true. This is absolutely true, man. But
that's all I know. This is how I got where I am. So I can't have you doing whatever it is you're doing. So I'm about to run your ass over.
Yeah. And did you ever see that video though? Yeah.
I didn't see it. I just heard about it and you know, saw the articles. Yeah.
So the video has been obviously since it went down, and I'm not gonna play it on here, but you know, looks like he pulled up on the set while they were recording, and from what I recall, somebody correct me, you know, and I guess he tried to start talking shit or whatever, and then them boys got on his ass, and I guess they start putting the beaters on him through the window. So when they start putting the beaters on him through the window,
that's when we hit it.
He throws it in reverse, from what I remember.
Yeah.
And then while he's throwing it in reverse, it hits one of the guys, and he falls under it or whatever.
Damn.
Yeah. So he ends up taking him out like that. Then he leaves the scene of the crime. So, you know, I mean, $1.5 million.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, I guess they tired of going back and forth. I'm pretty sure they've been.
Yeah. At this point, it's been years. I'm sure.
Years.
Yeah.
There's a lot of these are, and I think they were talking about the same thing with, not to get back into Shannon Sharp, but the whole situation with his accuser not taking the 10 million. So if she's suing now, it's going to be another few years. So it could pan out, you know what I'm saying? Another 5, just like this one. You know, years before anything happens, man. But hey, you know.
Shout out to Suge.
Yeah, best of luck to Suge Knight, man. And what else we got, man? So we got you know, Terrence Howard.
Oh yeah, and I did see that article. You was telling me about that.
So Terrence Howard, you know, he's been Maine. Yeah. He was on Bill Maher's. Well, he's been on a few podcasts as of recent, but I know Bill Maher's, they've been taking a lot of sound bites and clips from out of that one. And he's been saying, you know, some controversial stuff, you know, particularly when we know about the whole Marvel situation. I don't know. Let me rephrase that. So he played in the first Iron Man, right?
Oh, Tariffs, yeah, and then got replaced with Cheeto.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he actually got paid, according to what he said. He got paid more than Robert Downey got paid, because Robert Downey at this point,
at that time,
was
just coming back from
heavy on addiction.
Yep.
And he said the reason why, he said he fought for, this is Terrence saying, he fought for Robert to be on because they said he was a liability because of the drug situation. So I guess these actors have to be insured on these things. So he said they wouldn't insure him. So he gave, I guess, whatever promise or whatever, no, we can really do this. So he got $3.5 million. I don't know what he said Robert got. I forgot what it was, but he got $3.5 million just for playing Rhodey in this film. Ironically, he said this happened due to, he said, Weinstein did him a favor and helped him get the $3.5 million by basically offering it for another completely different role, and having him turn it down so that would be the set price.
Got it.
For a Marvel movie.
Got it.
Is what he was explaining to Bill Maher. That's how he got the $3.5 million, because he already turned down $3.5 on another movie. So he got it like that. But he also goes on to say that he was offered. We already talked about the Diddy stuff. We already know about that. But he was offered to play Marvin Gaye by Quincy Jones.
Yeah.
Right. And he said while he's sitting there talking to Quincy Jones, he said that, hey, I've heard this about, because Marvin Gaye's dad was a cross-dresser. That's how he got. I don't know if you knew that. That's how he him and his father had a tumultuous relationship, and that's who actually killed him, was his father.
I didn't know that story. Yeah.
Marvin Gaye was killed by his father, from my recollection. What I mean? I've always wondered why they never had a Marvin Gaye movie. So in this case, let me pull this up here. In this case, he said he sat down with Quincy Jones, and Quincy Jones was talking to him, and he's like, hey man, I've been hearing rumors, was Marvin actually gay? And Quincy said, yeah. And he said he talked about during the movie, they wanted to explore that part of it. And he was like, I'm gonna have to, kiss a man. I'm not doing that. And he said that previously.
Yeah.
Which had the LGBT community up in an uproar, because he's saying that he didn't want to, play a gay actor, play a gay man, and people are like, it's just acting. And I'm just like, to me, I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but I don't think that's not, I mean, I get it, it's acting, but you on a different type of time, man. You got dudes getting clapped up on camera. You know what I'm saying? You have to act like you're getting clapped up. These P-Valley, all these different shows where these dudes claim, and obviously women are gonna be the first ones to argue, saying it's just acting, it's just act. I don't know why women go so hard when it comes to that. It's just acting. It's just, I'm like,
and then they're the first ones to call you a name that refers to that when they get mad at you.
Exactly. P-Valley. I don't know if you ever watched P-Valley.
I haven't.
Or whatever,
nasty work.
That's nasty work. But, I was kind of tuned in for the buns. What it went towards, right? Yeah, that was. I don't think they're other than Oz, maybe. I don't think they ever had any nastier work than that.
Wow.
P-Valley, like, bro. But this man, these are dudes who claim to be, hetero men, right?
Yeah.
They're getting clapped up on camera by other men, and having deep, intimate scenes. They're men. You know what I'm saying? So they're coming at him for saying that's not my style. As a man, we give it, we don't take it. You know what I mean? So everybody's calling cap on a lot of the stuff that he's been saying in these interviews lately. So what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, my thoughts is, as an actor or as a person, period, you have your own right to define what you will and what you're not willing to do. And you can't you can if you want to. When I'm saying the whatever communities that are coming down on him for saying that he's chosen not to play that part.
Right.
If that's what someone chooses to do with their career and their lives, that's their prerogative. The same way you don't want someone telling you that you can't wear a dress if you want to. Right? You don't want all of us being like, man, you need to take that off and put on some britches.
Yeah.
You don't want us doing that. So why is it okay for you to come down on this guy because he says he doesn't want to play this part? You can't have it both ways.
Exactly.
If everybody's supposed to be able to be allowed to live their truths and conduct themselves the way they want to, then it's got to be the same way on both sides of the board.
Yeah, absolutely. But as you just so eloquently said it, that's not how it is. It has to be that way, their way, the community way.
Complete domination.
Yeah, complete domination, and you're not allowed to be, what do they call it? It's they don't call it there's a term for it, for heterosexual toxic some shit toxic.
Dude, it's a new term every week, so I'm like, I can't keep up with all of it.
Yeah, it's something in reference to that, or as being, and 50 Cent said it a long time ago. Just being like a straight man is under attack. A heterosexual man is being under attack. You know.
Yeah. I mean, as far as in the media space, and the thing is, I don't understand why they like to target the male actor that doesn't want to embrace rainbow roles when there's so many that will do it. You've got enough that will do it. So why do you like to target and single out the guy that says, "Nah, bro, I don't want to kiss a dude"?
Right.
Oh no, he doesn't want to do it.
Right.
It's okay. I'm like, you guys have plenty of media where you're represented and all of that stuff is happening. So you don't have to get upset when one actor or actress says they don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm. For sure, man. Shout out to Terrence, man.
Shout out to T. Howard, man.
As he called it, his mom's calls him Terry.
Oh, does it? Oh, I can see that.
Yeah, shout out to Terry. You know what I'm saying? But for standing as some of the people have been saying, he's been standing on business.
See, Miles said the future is female.
Yeah, he hasn't been falling. The future is female. How do you think they get this accomplished?
Yep, toxic masculinity.
Yeah, it's not toxic,
and they label it on everything.
Yeah, but it's
But I know you mean they've got a new specific term for heterosexual. Yeah, I know.
It's specific for heterosexual male. You know what I mean? In terms of that, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Do your thing, man.
Yeah. So we talked about Shador earlier this week, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, as of late, we know that the Lakers have been eliminated from the playoffs.
Playoffs?
Yeah, led by the great LeBron James
and Luka, the great Luka.
Yeah, and Ant-Man, he did his what they said, his victory lap.
Yeah.
Around, and he's got his own problems in itself, which we're not gonna talk about.
He got them Zion problems.
Yeah. Yeah, but this brings up a question which I saw Aries Spears talk about this about the GOAT conversation between LeBron and Jordan, right?
Okay.
And saying that obviously LeBron has been to 10 different finals or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Only won 4 out of 6. 4 and 6.
Okay.
It was a conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to Jordan, was it 6? I think Jordan went in all 6.
Yeah, he went 3, took 2 years off, and then went 3 again.
Yeah.
And his winning percentage was perfect.
Yes. So yeah. So people have been making different comments about this situation, and LeBron, I believe, was he 41? Is he 40 or 41?
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, I think he's 40. He's been in the league 20
and
years.
I was just about to say, Helen, in basketball years, he's 60.
Yes,
he came in at 17.
Yes.
I mean, just think about that for a minute. A lot of folks don't work corporate jobs that long.
For sure. Yeah. So there was something saying, people had different reasons. They even blamed it on Kevin Gates, which I don't know if you heard about that. You know about that situation?
No, they blame what on Kevin Gates?
So Kevin Gates had made a comment about He made a
I'm waiting.
and LeBron James responded too, right? So Kevin Gates made a comment.
Really.
Well, he made a video, a short
Okay.
video. Like, he's like, I don't like the way LeBron James' wife Savannah looks at him. She doesn't look at him in admiration. This is, arguably one of the greatest players.
Hold on a second. This is what Kevin said.
This is what Kevin is saying. He's
okay,
like,
please continue.
Yeah, he's like, I love LeBron so much, but he's like, I don't like the way his wife looks at him. She doesn't look at him like the specimen he is, all the accomplishments. She looks at him like a regular dude. And he said, you got all these white women that look at him like this god or whatever. But he's like, man, I just don't like how she look at him, like basically like she's tolerating him instead of celebrating him, is what he was getting at. So LeBron responds with an IG post saying something along the lines of, and you guys probably can quote it for me, but he says, kings don't respond to peasants or something like that, to the words of peasants or whatever, or lions don't respond to sheep, something along those lines, right?
You get it?
So Kevin gets front row seats to one of the games and sits there with Brittany Renner and watches it the whole time. And people were saying, because he ran up on Stephen A, right?
I didn't know that.
Remember that when LeBron ran up on Stephen A?
Oh yeah, I thought you were talking about Kevin Gates. But go ahead, yeah.
So LeBron at the game runs up on Stephen A and say, "Stop talking about my son," or whatever, going on.
Oh yeah.
But he didn't do that to Kevin Gates. You know what I'm saying? Don't talk about my wife.
Yeah.
really, yeah. Yeah, he didn't do that. So that's what Kevin did. He got front row seats and he never said anything. So people were like, man, since Kevin showed up to that game, his game has been completely thrown off. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they got knocked out.
Dog. Thank you for that story, because I didn't know that had happened with the Kevin Gates thing. But you want to know what's interesting to me about that?
What's that?
I thought the same thing.
You would have did the same thing? What?
Thought the same thing.
What?
Yes. Every time I see pictures of her, she looks sour. Yeah,
you're right.
But what does a woman like in that life have to look sour about?
Yeah.
She never looks like, oh my God, I am having a time of my life being a part of this family, this experience. She always just looks dejected. And I always wondered, but the fact that I thought it was just the way I perceived it, and it was just wrong pictures and the way they were. Right. But hell, Kevin Gates said it.
And people were in agreement with Kevin by saying that he's only saying what everybody else is thinking. Kevin was like, man, I hate to say this. And he did a follow-up video and he said, sometimes I got to give you the hard truth or whatever. And if you could take it how you want to take it, but that's just how I feel. And he said, I'm just being honest. So other people agreed with him in reference to that. And people were saying that she made him make that post. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously,
and I feel where Manifest coming from too. It was like he probably shouldn't have said it publicly about Kevin.
Well, LeBron shouldn't have responded, in my opinion. You know what I mean? All these people talking about you, bro. You know what I'm saying? And you responded with a picture of your wife. So the only thing is your wife must have been giving you hell about it. Or maybe, there was conversations about it. Man.
He got a little bit of that Jada Pinkett treatment.
Yeah. I wouldn't have responded to, not to say that Kevin, but you're a billionaire, bro. People talk shit about you every day.
Yes.
And how the whole like peeking under the, you looking for fouls, you whining on the court, you very, very sensitive and shit like that. You arguing with people in the stands and shit, it's sensitive. So you wait for a dude to say this. Obviously, he has a bigger following than most people does.
Bro,
you done been hearing shit. Not just this. You've been hearing shit your whole fucking career.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
You had to quote unquote clap back on this one.
I wouldn't have responded. You know what I'm saying? If I know what's good with me and my wife, I'm just like, what is he talking about, man? I would have did that, but. I think you when you do shit like that, you confirm people's suspicions. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I can see that.
in my opinion, you know, because you would have to respond to everybody if you do it to one person. That's just my thought. You would have to.
Your comment section crazy.
Man. I don't know how many likes we got on this video, man.
I can't see that.
Like I said,
that I can't see.
Yeah, me doing live streams, like my live streams is always suspect. You know what I'm saying? Based upon how many people, because it's like this is Facebook and so it's showing. I only got 24 people on YouTube that's watching, 4 on Facebook and 1 on Twitch. You're live streaming now? Because I see it says the Independent Mail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know what mine says though, because I can't see it.
Yes. Yeah. This like I said, my shit's always be suspect, but it is what it is. I'm glad you could be anywhere, but you here with me. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like button once again, guys. It helps to push the video out, helps to promote. You know what I mean? So hit that like button. But we coming to a close here. We're gonna wrap this up with a few more things, including you know, we were talking about the tariffs earlier, right? And you know, we were talking about how it's affecting just a lot of these goods, drop shipping. The Sheins and all these other moves. But now we see Xbox for one, Sony,
Nintendo,
all these that are being produced in China or outsourced, or the parts are being produced. They're raising just as of yesterday, and I think you got the specific numbers.
Yeah.
Series 10 and the
the Series S and X, both of them went up by almost $100. I got the sites here. If you want me to put that up.
Damn, I didn't know you was able to do that.
Yeah, you have to put it up there though. Yeah,
I didn't know you could do that. Damn, that's tight.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, as you see right here, Nintendo Switch 2 $450. All right. Now Nintendo 2 Switch is a new system, so okay, you expect that to be up some, but this is where the kicker is. These are old 3/4 of the generation through systems. Xbox Series S with only 500 gigabytes. That's normally $299. It's $379 today.
Damn.
Xbox Series S, again, this system is 5 years old. It's almost about to be replaced. It's normally $499. Now with tariffs and import surcharges, blah, 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 it's a whopping $599. Games have gone up by $10, controllers going up by $10, etc., etc.
So what do you think this is going to mean for you know, the game passes for you know, all the different systems, including Nintendo as well, even though these are virtual, well, not virtual, what's it called?
Well, digital. A lot of these are digital.
Yeah, digital, not virtual, digital. Do you think that's going to affect the digital part?
Yeah, to a degree, and this is why. And I suspect that Nintendo is going to feel this harder. And the reason I say this is because Nintendo has purposely put most of their eggs into a more family-based, younger audience. Okay. So you're talking elementary, junior high school kids that typically are hardcore Nintendo fans. That customer base requires on parents to buy the systems, the games, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
So going to parents over inflationary products is going to get you less purchases, all right, per se than 20, 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds. Adults tend to be more of the gamers on the Xbox and the Sony side. Now, Xbox and Sony are still going to feel it, but I don't think they're going to feel it as much as Nintendo, because that older audience is like, I'm gonna complain about spending $10 more for a game, but I'm gonna still buy it.
Yeah,
because I can make that decision to do that, whereas little Timmy can't. Mama said no. And so, of course, this is going to be a trickle down. The gaming part of Microsoft is a big part of their overall platform. So if Microsoft sales and performance dips, that's going to affect the overall Microsoft stock price. Same thing for Sony. Same thing for Nintendo, which trades on the ADR because they're not on the American market, but you can still invest in them. All of this stuff is going to be affected.
I see. That makes sense. I didn't think it to that extreme though. That's crazy.
Well, this is what I do on my day job. So
Yeah. I mean, even to the price, like you hit the old ADR point, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, to the price to be affected like that, man.
And it's just one, and this is just one industry, like gaming. Like everybody's not involved in that, but
yeah,
like you say, once we balloon out to housing and all kinds of other aspects, well, we're gonna see, man. It might be a tight year for some people. Some big purchases might get put off, but I don't know. I think there's also a good chance that a lot of this stuff gets quasi reversed or toned down a little bit, because the thing about it, once the markets start hollering about something too much, the administration has to listen to it.
Yeah, this is true. Well, guys, y'all gonna spend the money regardless. I mean, some people might not, but y'all, if you're really a gamer, you're gonna spend that money. But I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a resolution in the future, man.
Mm-hmm. I think so too, and I think sooner than later.
Yeah. Business has been, regardless of how people feel about China and all these things like that. Yeah, something's gonna come about, man. But I'm glad I got your take on that. Very interesting perspective. So we were speaking of finance. You said you had something.
I did. I actually wanted to get your opinion on something, and I didn't tell you in detail what it was, and some of the fine folks in the chat.
Yeah.
And it is a quote unquote financial subject. And I'm gonna share another, do a screen share, but it's a day-to-day function that all of us take part in every day, and it's an actual a social thought experiment. I want to know what people think about this subject, so I'm gonna share this right quick, and I'm gonna let it run, and then I want you to give me your take on it. So I'm gonna share screen right quick, Evanston. All right, so let me know when that's up. All right, it's up. I'll start it. Here we go.
Well, confrontation over tipping lands an Evanston restaurant owner in some hot water. And now he's sitting down with our Sarah Maki to say he takes full responsibility, he's sorry, and his door's open to the other person involved.
Hey, bro, what do you want, bro? What do you want? I paid for my food.
Evanston restaurant owner Kenny Cho says he takes full responsibility for his actions in this video, taken Saturday afternoon, telling us he followed a regular into the street, intending to tell him never to come back after leaving without tipping again.
You gonna tell them? I paid for my food. I handed you $20. You can't charge me more than what the menu say. So what are you talking about?
But the tensions escalated, the men yelling at each other for several minutes as the customer walked away from the business.
Have you watched the video?
Yes.
And when you watched it,
ashamed. I was just ashamed, bringing shame to my wife as a husband, as an owner, at the same time, to my mom and dad.
The video ignited a debate online about tipping and led some people to leave messages on the sidewalk in shock, calling the business Table to Sticks anti-Black.
Table to Sticks, how can I help you? I'm sorry?
The backlash has forced them to stop taking calls, deactivate their social media, while Yelp hasn't posted any new reviews.
Bro, you about to blow up on social media, bro.
Yep.
When asked why he didn't tip, the customer told people online, "Oh, I just didn't want to." Cho tells us the customer's brother has since come in, describing their conversation as productive.
I apologized to him and to his family, and I was asking if he can pass this message along to his little brother.
Adding he sent the brother home with the customer's favorite order, a handwritten apology, and an offer.
My door's open for you, man. Come on by anytime.
From Evanston, Sarah Maki, CBS News, Chicago.
Sarah, thank you. And they also tell us these.
All right, man. All right. So, your take, Mr. Wisdom, is usually reverse. You asking me what my opinion is about the video. I want to know what you have to say about this one, kind sir.
Yeah, so I saw that video, and I know they played just like they didn't play the whole thing on there when them reporting on it.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy was super aggressive, and I'm not saying everything.
You mean the restaurant owner?
Yeah, the restaurant owner. right?
Okay.
Super aggressive. And this is one of those cases where, and we're not going to, I'm going to talk about race. I'm going to include race in this because obviously you see a lot of things involving race when they were reporting it just now, right?
Just now, yeah.
So typically, people tend to say it's stereotypical that Black folks resolve things in violence, right? So automatically being that this was a Black man recording him, he should have put hands on him, right? Immediately should have put hands on him. And this is a skater dude, I believe. His friends had, they had skateboards with him and whatnot. And he followed him for like a block?
That didn't even seem like they were in front of his immediate restaurant storefront anymore. Yeah.
But the fact that you would do that, and something else just went by. I forgot what restaurant in here in Atlanta where that happened. I don't know if you know about it.
I didn't.
They told him don't come back.
Okay.
This was I don't know if it was Black owned, but the waitress was Black, telling other patrons, if you don't tip, or basically before they even came in.
Before you come in, got it. You ain't gonna tip, don't even come in here.
And it's crazy that as I said, and you've been in Atlanta obviously for majority of your life, and I just got there. But what shocked me is that automatic gratuity. Yeah, most of these restaurants here in Atlanta, for those of you who don't know, it's usually that 18% or sometimes 20% gratuity automatically added to your check, which legally you don't have to pay. I'm saying they're just throwing that on there. You don't have an obligation to pay. You only have an obligation to pay what the items that you have. So you can tell them take this off if you don't like the service. But there's no incentive as a server to perform if you've already
beyond. Yeah.
So I think by watching that clip, that this guy probably had a bad day. You know what I'm saying? And he saw, that this guy was maybe a easy lick, and this guy was non-threatening. So that's what he did. Because I don't think he would have did that to
Kevin Gates.
He would have did that to me.
He's like Kevin Gates
because people a lot of times know who they can pick on.
No, I know. Yeah, fuck yeah.
And that's why they do stuff. But you followed him, and I think he I think he touched him at one point.
I don't know if he touched him or not, but following him was enough.
Yeah, so he went down. I have to support. My restaurant has to make money. We have to do this. And Buddy was like, "Well, you need to raise your prices." You know what I'm saying? If that's the problem, he's like, "That it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way by raising prices. You don't know anything about the restaurant business." Until his homeboy got in and he saw his homeboy. I don't know. Did you see that part?
His homeboy
was like, "Yo, let's beat this dude. Let's put the beaters on this dude."
And then it was like, "Oh, okay."
He was like, "Yeah, this guy's with the shits." You know what I'm saying? I can't mess around with this guy. So he was like, "Yo, let's jump this dude or whatever like that." But the fact that you, as a owner or manager or whatever, follow a customer for a block plus, then calling them all types of names and stuff like that, and this is how who like. What do you think? That's crazy.
This is something else though that seemed a little bit weird in their specific situation. It looked like a to-go order. The dude looked like he had a bag in his hand, right?
I can't remember if he did. I can't remember. I know in the video he was like, I paid. I remember him saying,
"I gave you $20.
I paid for my food or whatever, and then I left or whatever."
And I guess that just brings me to my question though. Should people be obligated to tip? And if so, what are the scenarios? And I'm just saying, like, on a personal standpoint, I always tip. But I've also worked in the service industry as a teenager and, I'm saying, an early 20-year-old, right? But I have my caveats and my rules to it, though. If I order takeout, I might give you $1. Because you haven't done anything for me to be tipping you. You didn't bring me any extra drinks, any napkins. You didn't do any of that stuff. All you did was what you normally had to do was put my food in the bag and set it over there in the window. So I don't know what I'm tipping for. So I may give you $1 on that. But my thing is, if I elect not to do anything at all, even on takeout or a sit-down restaurant, am I obligated to do so? And should I be, quote unquote, shamed or called out about it? Because in that video, I saw things that said, only turds don't tip and all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff like that. So I'm just like, is it entitlement for people to expect to be tipped, or are you not being a good patron if you elect not to tip? I'm like, which one is it? I want to know what you think, what the people in the comments think, like, because I don't know. I'm like, I don't think people should be forced or shamed to tip. If they want to do it, then fine. But I don't get that.
I think as from a person coming from a similar background like yours, who is working from that standpoint, they're going to say, yeah, I think you should tip. But as a person in the service industry or a server or a food and bev, whatever you call it, you also patronize establishments too. So you look at those things as well. And I'm pretty sure if you get some terrible service, or the waiter or waitress or wait staff only comes around every 30, 45
you looking
minutes.
for them.
Yeah, you looking for them. You know what I'm saying? Because I've done, like, there's a few places here in Atlanta where I was like, I need to talk to the manager. And then they'll be like, we'll take that off. We'll look you for that. And they'll do that shit.
Yeah.
You know, you have so much ability to affect somebody's business now than it was back in the day. And just to add on, which I don't want to make this long and drawn out. Tipping, even though people try to say, you know, it did, tipping originated in the United States or became popularized.
That is interesting, because when you go abroad, you do realize that.
And they just started incorporating it at a lot of these places, that tourist areas. They're incorporated. But most places that I've been at throughout my 20 plus year tenure of traveling outside the United States didn't have tipping until, you know, a lot of these tourist places started to become popular, and they started
with Americans.
I'm gonna read this real quick.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know this.
Okay.
Is tied to Black folks. You know, strangely enough, which I'm gonna read here. Tipping, and this is what AI says.
Oh, okay.
Tipping as we know it in the United States has its roots in the post-Civil War and Reconstruction period, when employers hired former slaves but did not pay them wages. Essentially, tipping was an extension of slavery, forcing these workers to rely on patrons' gratuities for their livelihood. While tipping origins can be traced back to medieval Europe, we're talking about medieval Europe. We're talking about what, 600 years ago?
Yes. Yeah, more than that.
500, 600 years ago, whatever it is, can be traced back to medieval Europe. Its widespread adoption in the U.S. was tied to the exploitation of newly freed Black people.
Sweet.
You know,
shout out to growth.
Yeah. So that's for those watching. You know, you can say, well, medieval Europe. You know, who the hell got money to just be giving away back then? You know what I'm saying? Or even had money, you know, just to do that. But I don't believe, to answer your question, I don't think it should be mandatory. I think it is something that people were just mad that, I mean, people were just happy that you were a patron to their business. That you were actually buying stuff from them at their restaurant.
See, Miles, stupid.
Yeah. And just to get that stuff, I know you got to have servers like that. You just.
Well, I do not know what JR was about to finish saying, but I know he said something about he knew you had to have servers. But I was laughing too at Miles talking about he faster than AI. There he is. The man is back. The man is back.
Shout out to Growth, GROWTH. Talk with Kofa. Everyone starts at $10 with me. Their tips goes up or down depending on their service. Not obligated, but I do it. And I hear people saying that too. It starts out.
Yeah, you at a place. You right here.
Yeah. They'll tell the waiter. They'll tell the waiter or the wait staff, hey, just letting you know, this is your tip. It's up to you how you do this. What are you saying?
Bro, so you don't give any disclosure. You don't even tell them that they're being evaluated.
Well, I heard people saying that.
You just do it mentally. You you at $2, my friend.
Yeah. But shout out to Kofa there. But yeah, man, it's interesting, man. You know, a lot of, I mean, even when it comes to, you know, the booty clappers and buns workers, right?
Oh,
you know, the ones that selling buns, you know, at different locations. You know, they call it in Spanish, they call it propina, right?
Propina.
Yeah, propina.
Propina, papi.
So basically, on top of clapping some cheeks,
propina,
you're supposed to give a propina. You know what I mean? So,
again, is this based on performance?
It should be, right? You know what I mean? So everybody's access to it. You know what I'm saying? On these
Got
things.
you.
Yeah, but that's my thoughts on it, bro. I know us, like many of us who are anti-confrontational,
Mm.
you know, we probably would have handled it like he handled it, but I just can't let somebody just, you know, get that close to me. And you know, most of us obviously we would have said how we would have reacted. We would have put hands on the dude, and rightfully so. And at the point where you feel like this guy actually,
I don't know what he's going to do. He came up on me. He didn't follow me out of a restaurant.
He followed me.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have more than enough right to defend yourself in this situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But you know,
Who said Propina and DR?
hey man, Propina wherever. You know, wherever buns is being distributed.
I'm done with you guys.
Yeah. So but yeah, bro. We're at an hour now. I know I just the internet shit just went out for some reason. That's why I got off. But moving on, man, and we're gonna wrap this up. New in gaming, you know, we talked about gaming so far, and I know we got some, you know, some releases that we were talking about in terms of The Last of Us being put out on Steam and PC for those of you who are PC gamers like yourself. And there was another one that I said came out other than The Last of Us that came out this week. I had it pulled up. I can't remember the exact.
It was Among Us, right? Among Us remaster.
Oh yeah. Was it? What'd you call it? Among Us?
I think you said Among Us.
It's a biker. It's almost like a zombie game. Something remastered. Let me look it up.
Oh, Onimusha.
Not Onimusha. Onimusha comes out in a few weeks.
Oh, okay.
This is like a biker dude where he's fighting like zombies and shit. You said Among Us.
Among Us, isn't it? That's that one where you try to figure out who's a killer.
Days Gone? Is it Days Gone?
Days Gone. That's it.
Yeah. So yeah, Days Gone Remastered has come out like
Yeah,
this.
that's
I think this week or this, you know, a few days ago or whatever. So you guys, you know, if you guys are interested in that stuff, but yeah, Thunderbolts. You know,
movie tip.
Yeah, Thunderbolts. If you guys don't know, which we'll pull that up here. Thunderbolts has, which is an offshoot of the Avengers, whatnot. It is now in theaters, guys. If you guys want to check it out, I was gonna check it out yesterday, or last night actually. I was trying to pull up a good picture of this. You know what I'm saying, so that I could.
Propina.
They still talking about Propina, man?
I am.
You said you are.
Yup.
Why is this thing blocked, man?
Days going by. He had it too.
Is Days Gone By?
Finally got it up there.
What did I say? Did I say Days Gone By?
No, you did. Initially, I said something silly, Among Us, which is a totally different game.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's out. So, you know, we got
South of Midnight.
What about Midnight?
Oh, somebody put South of Midnight in the chat. I want to know what it is.
Yeah. I don't know about that. We already talked about Sinners already earlier this week. So
yeah, I still haven't checked that out yet, man. I want to go look at it.
Yeah, go peep.
Somebody just put it in the chat. JR talked about it. Was it Tuesday? We did.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's why I brought it up, because I had saw them say it. But
oh, okay.
Yeah, but Thunderbolts is out now. You guys go check it out. It's an offshoot of the Avengers. Supposed to be having a new villain right there. That guy in the far back called the Sentry. I guess he's kind of an anti-hero. He has multiple personality or something like that, where he becomes the Sentry, then he becomes the Void.
Oh, okay.
Two different sets of powers. He's kind of like Marvel Superman, I guess, for lack of a better term. So, you know, you got the usual guys in here. Winter Soldier, U.S. Agent, right there from right to left.
Yeah.
I don't know these other people other than old boy on the far left. But yeah, you know, should be a good. I guess everybody's going to watch it because of the Sentry. You know.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out. I'm behind on some of these Marvels. I still hadn't checked out Mackey's Captain America yet.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that'll be hitting.
It's on Amazon now for like $20. I might do that.
And I'm pretty sure it'll be streaming soon too. Probably next probably this month. It'll probably be on Disney. It was okay, man. It was just like they said.
That's why I hadn't rushed out to see it, because I just kept hearing, you know, mediocre reviews about it. But I still want to look at it.
Yeah, it was a safe movie. It was like a 5, You know, in my opinion, 5 out of 10. You know what I mean?
So it sound like they ain't worth me giving them $20 either. I need to keep waiting.
Yeah, definitely not to go see the I Pick. You know, yeah, on that, man. But we're gonna end it with this, man. I got a question for you.
Oh,
yeah, I got a question for you, and you know, for the people in the chat, you can respond, call in with your thoughts too. Because I saw a similar question that they ask on a lot of these pages on Instagram, these gossip pages. You personally, you had a friend or a homie of yours, could you rock with him if he didn't take care of his kids? Could you be friends or be cool with a dude that doesn't take care of his kids, i.e. child support, or even see him? Or
yeah, that's an associate.
Yeah.
That's an associate.
Right.
For me.
But you would still associate with him.
That's an associate on whatever the level of association is. So if it's a business associate or something like that. But that's not my boy. That's not my dog.
Right.
That's not somebody that I'm like, yes, this is someone I consider a friend, because that's a shared value we don't have.
Right. Got you. So it could only, I guess what I'm gathering from you, it could only be probably business.
Yeah, that's what I mean by associate. Business associate. Yeah.
Not a personal associate. Yeah. I got you.
Yeah. I mean, and it's not very many things that would cause me to automatically put somebody in the associate category, but that's one of them.
Yeah, I think that says a lot about a man's character.
Exactly.
That just doesn't take care of his kids. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of times, from what I've found, that people who don't take care of their kids, their life is just usually in shambles a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't turn out too well for them. They have, and from what I've seen, and I'm not saying that to be on a spiritual tip, so I just seem like they just don't, like their life is just, they always having issues. They're always having problems. They're always.
And I think there's a reason with that, because some of it is, once you take on parenthood in a serious manner, and we're talking about fatherhood because we're talking about men, being friends with another man. So I'm going to speak on being a father. You can already have your purpose prior to your child/children.
Right.
But once you have them, it takes that purpose to a different level. It takes a lot of the focus and the priority off of yourself, and it places it on them. These are my priorities. I am being purposeful and committed and disciplined towards my purpose in order to properly provide, train, nurture these guys. This is what my purpose is. Sometimes when you have individuals that can't make something or someone else a priority to focus on, to keep them in line, to keep them disciplined, they end up with that disarray you're talking about. So you go through with this me, everything's gratifying to me, because when you think about it, putting a lot of time and energy into another being isn't always immediately self-gratifying. So when those individuals don't get that gratification back, they don't care about it. All they care about is what they're doing, but oftentimes you yield a lot of chaos behind it. So that's why when a lot of individuals prioritize being good fathers, a lot of other things fall in line because they're focused on that. So it keeps a lot of the noise away from them.
Yeah. I would still think if you have all the noise away, right? Because I could go into personal situation with myself, which I'm just trying to beat them down. But you have some people say, I rid myself of certain things, including kids, because it's holding me back.
Okay.
Right. And I, in the case of my ex-wife, that was what she said, right? I can't be who I want to be because these kids are holding me back. And it still didn't turn out too well. Here we are, 11 years later, and it's still struggling. You see what I'm saying? And
the sad part about it is almost completely aligns with what I was just saying. All of the gratification and the focus and the attention was on that individual, not something greater than themselves.
Right.
So then, like you say, you fast forward over a decade, and the fruit that's yielded's been the same thing that it was at the beginning.
Same shit. You know what I'm saying? Which is strange because you think so many people complain, men and women, but a lot of women, if I didn't have these kids, if I could be, you got these women out here in the street, they don't got no responsibilities and they still can't, I'm doing much better than them because, X, Y, Z. But we got another question here from Kofa. Let's go ahead and read that one here. What if he's tried and gets burned out financially and emotionally, then walks away for his legit peace of mind? Is he in the same category? You would have to expound on that because but
I think what growth is saying is or what Kofa is saying is that what if you have an individual, and I'm saying individual, a guy that seems to have tried, because you do have these instances where a man tries to do what he's supposed to do and is impeded for whatever reasons. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's being vindictive or blah, 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 blah. I'm assuming that that's the type of scenario he's describing.
Yeah.
If that's the scenario, that's different from somebody just being like, oh, with the menace to society, what you calling me for?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about somebody that's been fought the whole time of trying to do, what I'm saying, that's a different scenario.
Yeah, that's definitely, I agree with you. That is definitely, because I don't fault a man for if you have tried and this person is purposely trying to keep your child away from you and put, like you said,
or put up barriers and roadblocks, and yes.
And even with a court order, still not following the court order, you do it. So you will go insane. And I'm telling you personal experience, you will go insane trying to do those things. So sometimes you just have to let it go.
Yeah, that's not the scenario I'm talking about. I'm talking about what you call me for.
Right. Just all together. Like, and that can go down a whole different thing in terms of the Ant-Man, with the Ant-Man basically paying all that money up front, telling the woman, I don't want the child, and she knows he don't want the child because he tell her while she's pregnant, and she still decides to go through and get mad because he don't want to be a father.
And see, that's a different, almost somewhat of a different caveat, a little bit. You know what I mean? Like you say, I straight, but at the same time, if you straight up know that you don't want to do that, then there's these little plastic things or little rubbery things you can use to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, you have to take self-agency.
Yes, especially where you are the person with the most to lose. So
yeah, he's not playing with it. I definitely don't agree with that. But when you tell a woman, you barebacking these women in, and then you doing this stuff, crazy to me.
Hitting them with straight BBs.
Yeah, but she know. I mean, like I don't know.
And I get what you're saying, because the man's communicated he doesn't want to be a dad, and then you decide to go down here and do it anyway. That's
do it anyway.
Yeah,
do it anyway for a check. And the man already has a girlfriend, has other kids that he's not taking care of. But yeah,
parental alienation. Screw that.
Yeah, but I think we covered everything. Dub, man.
Oh, that was packed.
We went way over an hour.
I knew we would.
An hour and 20 minutes, covering these different things. You know what I'm saying? But that's the wrap up for the Friday. You had anything else you wanted to add before we get up out of here?
I do not, man. I appreciate you having me on here. I love to wake up with some wisdom in the AM. I appreciate all the folks in the chat, man. Y'all kept it interesting. I mean, half the time I wasn't even looking at JR. I was over here looking over here. What's C-Bow talking about? I appreciate y'all, man. And hell, I hope y'all have a good weekend and a wonderful Friday. For me.
Likewise, once again, guys, appreciate everybody that tuned in. Shout out to Kofa for the super chats, for sure. Appreciate it, man. And the good dialogue. Eventually we start getting some more calls in on this show. A lot of people be shy and whatnot, you know what I mean? But
yeah, man, call on in.
It is what it is. Hit that like button, guys. Hit that subscribe button. No matter what platform you're on, go ahead and like and subscribe. Follow the Independent Mill. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. And listen, guys, hope you have a great weekend. And we'll see you soon on the next one. You know what I mean?
Next week.
Peace, blessings, and abundance. Let me see. Can I add an outro on this joint? Let's see if I can add the outro. Do I have it on here? I think I do.
Appreciate it, Miles. Have a good one, bro.
That's the
Don, Manifest. Y'all have a good one.
Stay in the studio until the outro video finished playing, or the broadcast may not end properly. Okay. So we're out of here, guys. Peace. Catch you guys on the next one. Love you too, everybody. Manifest Reality. Cassie.
Oh, big
Go ahead, baby. I see you. Let's get up out of here, man.